What's up, YouTube? It's Epic Luco here, and I know I've been away for a while. I don't want to get into the specifics of it, but I really wanted to get my top 20 list of the best movies I saw in 2017. It was really a great year for movies last year, and I really was inspired to start making more videos again by this year. I really wanted to talk about all these great movies that came out, so I'm gonna get into that. Let's do it. Now, there were a couple movies I did want to mention that I didn't get to see this year, like Molly's Game, Phantom Thread, Darkest Hour. These are movies that are coming out more like around now that I haven't gotten the chance to see yet. There's Three Billboards in Ebbing, Missouri. I did not get to see that one. I think that's about it. But yeah, those are a couple movies I did want to see last year, but I just didn't get around to seeing them. So let's get into my honorable mentions. First honorable mention is American Made starring Tom Cruise. I really liked this movie. I thought it was a great story, great true story. I thought Tom Cruise was great in it. Really well directed by Doug Liman. I really liked this movie. The Lego Batman movie, of course I loved it. I loved the Lego movie. I thought it's a fantastic movie, so obviously Lego Batman is just going to be just as great, and it really was. It tackled a lot of the great aspects and then also comical aspects of the Batman character and the villains and everything, so it really knew what it was doing, and I thought it pulled it off really well. Kingsman: The Golden Circle. This is actually a movie I was really excited for, and I did end up really liking it, and I thought critics really undeservedly gave it a little bit too much hate. I don't know what they're talking about. Honestly, I really do like the story and the characters and where they go and everything. I thought it was really well done. The action, once again, is great. I don't think it's quite as good as the first one, but it's really close. Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. I don't think anyone really went to go see this one, but I ended up seeing this, and it was really great. The subject matter of how the Wonder Woman character came into existence is really fascinating, and it's told beautifully in this movie from performances that really I think are getting underrated, but it's a really great movie. You should check it out. John Wick Chapter 2, the great follow-up to the first one. I thought this improved on a lot of things. It faltered in a couple aspects, but in my opinion, it just was so great. The action, once again, choreography is just mind-blowing. Such a great sequel, in my opinion. I think it's almost on the level of the first one. Not quite, but I can't wait for the third movie. This is going to be a great trilogy, and I hear they're also making a TV series on this, so I can't wait for that as well. Alien Covenant. I don't think it deserves as much hate as it's getting. I definitely think there are aspects of it that I do not agree with, but I can't call it a bad movie. I mean, the direction, the score, the visuals, the performances, there's so much good in this movie that I cannot just push it aside for one thing in particular. It's such a great movie. And finally, the last movie I saw this year was another Ridley Scott movie, All the Money in the World. The production behind this movie on its own is just really fascinating. The way that they were able to change so much within 2 weeks of this movie, changing Kevin Spacey with Christopher Plummer, it's seamless, like what they do. And Christopher Plummer gives a phenomenal performance in it. Mark Wahlberg is also great. Michelle Williams is great. Directed beautifully, very brutal, very devastatingly real. It's such a great movie. Alright, that's my honorable mentions out of the way. Now let's get this list started with number 20. Brawl in Cell Block 99 is directed by S. Craig Zahler, and if you've seen his last movie, Bone Tomahawk, you'll know what you're gonna get into. This movie is brutal as hell. I mean, the fight sequences with Vince Vaughn and these prison inmates is just so white knuckle and real. Like, the punches and the choreography is just so... It's not like an action movie. They feel real, and like the impact and everything. It's just so real. And in my opinion, this is Vince Vaughn's best performance. I mean, he's a great comedian. I think he's very funny in a lot of comedy movies, but In my opinion, this is his definitive performance. I don't think I could see anyone else playing him. He fits the role. He's tall, he's menacing, he's actually given a lot of character, and it's really, really heartfelt what they do with him. It reflects the old style of like 70s and 80s grindhouse films, and if you like those types of films, you're gonna love this movie. Number 19 is actually a film I just saw and is based off of a story that I find truly inspiring. Stronger is directed by David Gordon Green and stars Jake Gyllenhaal in a very, very subdued performance. Once again, this guy is proving to be one of my favorite actors working today. He is so real in this film. He's not showing it off either. He is, once again, he's very, very subdued, and he doesn't try to be flamboyant in this performance ever. Like, he feels so real. It tells the story of Jeff Bauman, a survivor of the Boston Marathon bombings, and it is so heartfelt and uplifting, and honestly, there's a scene towards the end which had me bawling. I mean, it is so inspiring what they do, and I don't want to reveal it because I really think you should go see this movie. Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic in it. Tatiana Maslany is also great. David Gordon Green directs this movie beautifully. I think it's a great movie. Number 18 was a big surprise for me because from the director, I did not expect this type of film, but we got a great movie from it. Get Out is directed by Jordan Peele, a horror movie. A guy so synonymous with comedy that it's so strange to see him helm this type of film, but it works so well. Probably the most praiseworthy element is the idea and the execution of it. It is so well done. I mean, just the idea. I don't want to give it away. I know a lot of people probably have seen this movie. It's a very popular movie. I know it's kind of low on my list. I didn't love it as much as other people did, but I can see why. It's such an ingenious idea. All the performances are great, but Daniel Kaluuya in particular, the main performance, is fantastic. I thought he sold this character 100%. I was behind him every step of the way. I thought he did a great job in the film. It's original, it's haunting, it's very scary, but also very funny. That comedy element from Jordan Peele really shines through in times. But it's crazy to see this guy direct something so far from his element, it seems. But it really turned out great, and I loved Get Out. Number 17 was an adaptation I was very skeptical on, but ended up really loving it. One could say it floats. Stephen King's It, the 2017 theatrical movie. I thought this movie was brilliantly done. I mean, Andy Muschietti, with the director, did a great job with the tone, changing the time period from the 50s to the 80s. I think was a great move. I think it really serves the tone of the movie wonderfully. It captures Stephen King's original novel extremely well. I think to a T, the first half of the novel is done so well here. The child actors are phenomenal in the movie. All of them have great chemistry with each other. They work off of each other really well. They're really funny. They're really likable, and they really work in this movie. But you go to see this movie for that guy. And Bill Skarsgård is absolutely terrifying as Pennywise the Clown. I already didn't like clowns very much. I mean, the original TV series didn't scare me all that much, but this is definitely an improvement. Yeah, he is absolutely terrifying. There's certain scenes where my throat was completely clamped and I could not breathe. I was just staring at the screen in absolute horror. Most of the horror in the film, almost all the horror in the film, is very well captured. There's a couple scenes where the jump scares get in the way. Sometimes the music's just a little too much. But in my opinion, I think the soundtrack is great. I think the kid characters are great. Pennywise is perfectly captured. Bill Skarsgård gives a great performance. Directed beautifully. I can't wait for part 2. I think it's going to be great. If Andy Muschietti can do what he did with this, I really hope he can improve on the adult segment of the novel and the film. Number 16 was a movie that I wanted to see just on the idea alone, and I ended up getting a lot more than I thought I would. Colossal is directed by Nacho Vigalondo. I hope that's how you pronounce that. And the idea for this movie is so out there and so original. It blew me away, like what this guy thought for this film. I think Anne Hathaway is great in the movie. She does a great job with this script and everything. Jason Sudeikis is also great. I don't really like where his character goes. It takes kind of a drastic turn towards the end of the film. But I think he's still great in the movie. Yeah, once again, Anne Hathaway is great. The idea is phenomenal. The ending is so satisfying. I can't talk more about this. I can't praise this movie more than I can right now. But like the idea is so phenomenal. It's worth the price of admission just to watch that alone. Colossal's a great movie. Number 14 is a sequel that I was anticipating very greatly, and I was pretty much satisfied with almost the entire film. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I think, honestly, was better than the first one, in my opinion. I had so much fun with this movie. I thought the characters were built upon very, very well. I think the villain was better. Everyone's giving a much better performance. All the performances in the first film were great, but I mean, all the performances were built on perfectly in this film. I think James Gunn did a great job with that. The comedy, once again, so fucking funny. Like, everything having to do with Drax and Rocket is hilarious, but that doesn't get in the way of the emotional stuff that they do with these characters. I think what they do with Chris Pratt and Michael Rooker's characters, especially Michael Rooker's character, I think are just phenomenal. Yondu in this movie is just so much better than he was in the first movie. Like in the first film, he was fine. I mean, he was kind of just a background character, sort of. But in this, he actually gets a lot more to do. He gets more emotional heft in this film. There is a scene towards the end that actually had me crying. Like, I was not expecting it. But yeah, it did actually have me crying. And it easily has the best Stan Lee cameo of all time. There's no debate. It's the best. Guardians 2. Good sequel. Number 13 was probably one of the biggest surprises of the year, in my opinion. We finally have a DC movie that has overpassed a Marvel movie. That goes to show you how good this year was for movies. But in all honesty, Wonder Woman was such a big surprise for me. Such a big gulp of fresh air. I think Gal Gadot in Batman v Superman as Wonder Woman, she was one of the best parts of this movie, and she is easily the best part of this movie. She owns the role of Wonder Woman. I think she is absolutely fantastic. Patty Jenkins as the director, such a good choice. I mean, she gives so much character to this movie. I feel like they focused on the aspect of superheroes that I love the most, and that is their compassion to save people. And Wonder Woman in this, she is all about saving people at any given point. She will go out of her way to do nothing but to save people, even if that's not even what the movie's trying to focus on. That's what her character does, and I absolutely love that. It elevates it more than any other superhero movie, in my opinion, that is. But I think everything else is just what makes a great superhero movie. The great action sequences, great characters. Wonder Woman is such a big surprise. Number 13 is probably the most divisive movie of the year, and I don't like saying that. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I love this movie. I'm sorry. A lot of fans of the Star Wars franchise really seem to hate this movie, but I don't get it. I don't get it. I absolutely love it. I've been a Star Wars fan since I was a kid. I absolutely love the series. I think this is one of the more thought-provoking chapters in this franchise. And is that a bad thing? I've seen this movie twice now, and I honestly really still cannot understand what people, like, what it takes to impress a Star Wars fan. I think there are absolutely problems with the movie, but the issues are almost minute in compared to the positives. And seeing as pretty much every reviewer talks about the negatives, how about we talk about the positives here? Because it's a great movie. I can't call this a bad movie. It's beautifully directed, absolutely gorgeous visuals in this movie. Cinematography, beautiful. The acting from Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, everybody is phenomenal. Mark Hamill gives, in my opinion, his best performance. The action is so much different than you've ever seen in any Star Wars movie. I'm not going to give anything away, but what they do with the characters and with the mythos of Star Wars, I think is going in a very, very interesting and, again, thought-provoking way. It's a satisfying evolution of the franchise, and I cannot wait to see where it goes from here. I really think the hate is almost completely undeserved. It's a great chapter in the franchise, and I cannot wait to see where it goes. Number 12 is a pretty good movie. This great American movie. Ha ha ha. That was my impression of Tommy Wiseau. The Disaster Artist is written and directed by James Franco and tells the story of the making of The Room. And if you don't know what The Room is, I suggest you go watch The Room. You will not regret it. James Franco gives a genuinely perfect impressionary performance of Tommy Wiseau. Like, I mean, it's scary how much he resembles Tommy Wiseau in this performance, but it works flawlessly. Some great performances also from Dave Franco and Seth Rogen. They're really great in the movie. Great screenplay. You really don't need to actually watch The Room to go and see this. If you know about it, it's a little better. The little bits of, like, I guess, fan service for the making of it. It's funnier, but it's still a very interesting tale about the creativity in making The Room, the actual, like, inspiration that they show in this film. It's tackled very well, and it really actually made me inspired, even though the end product is one of the best worst movies ever made. The Disaster Artist is a very funny but also very interesting look at somebody's creative inspiration to make a film, something they loved, and I think they pulled it off very, very well. Number 11 comes from one of my favorite comedic directors, and I think he pulls it off once again with this film. Baby Driver was directed by Edgar Wright, and some of the car chases in this movie are some of the best I have ever seen. The editing and the sound mixing, the soundtrack, all that, fantastic. Absolutely amazing work. Ansel Elgort is fantastic in the movie. John Hamm, Kevin Spacey, Jamie Foxx, all these people are giving great performances. There's a love subplot in the film that I don't really latch onto that much. It does take up a big portion of the movie, that's why it's a little farther down, but it is a complete blast. It's very funny, very, very good dialogue, great script, great movie. Number 10 is Return to Form for one of my favorite superheroes, one that we haven't seen in quite some time. SpiderMan Homecoming. Thank God they actually pulled this off right. After Amazing Spider-Man 2, they had a lot to impress me with, and they really, really did impress me a lot. This is the Spider-Man that we needed. Tom Holland is perfect. I mean, perfect for this tone, perfect for this story, perfect in every regard. I think he's probably the best incarnation of Spider-Man we have gotten so far. And I really do think this is a great interpretation. I think the look, the feel, the tone, everything is just perfectly captured. The high school, it's a great high school movie. I think that setting is actually perfect. I think they really nailed it with this. I really like that they did that. I think Michael Keaton is probably one of the best Marvel villains as the Vulture. I mean, finally, like since Loki, we haven't really gotten a really good Marvel villain. That's been their problem, but now we finally have one, and he does a great job. It's really well written, it's really funny, it's really well acted, the action's great, it's just a great all-around superhero movie. Number 9 got me worried when I first heard about this director attached. I got really worried, but then I saw the movie, and I'm really happy with what I got. Split, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. This is his best movie since Signs. I really think he's back, honestly, and I cannot be happier to say that. And he directs this movie to a T. It's gorgeously shot, beautifully directed, very suspenseful, terrifying at points, but also very funny. He knows when to balance the tone between scary and funny. He really actually does a good job with that. And James McAvoy in this film is terrific. He plays a character with 24 different personalities, and he sells it. Like, it's such a silly idea, but when you actually watch him in this film, he actually really pulls it off, and he is phenomenal in this movie. And I'm not going to give it away, but the twist in this movie is so unexpected. Absolutely awesome what they do with this movie. I cannot wait to see where they go with this. I think Split is his best movie since Signs, and I absolutely love it. Number 8 comes from, once again, one of my favorite directors, and this was a hard movie to watch. Dunkirk is one of the most emotionally draining war films I have ever seen, period. In my opinion, this is one of the best crafted war films I've ever seen. From a character standpoint, a lot of people are disappointed by it, but in my opinion, I think it's more about the situation, and in that regard, I think it's perfectly captured. Some astounding action direction in this movie. I mean, brutal, like real, like the use of practical location and everything. Christopher Nolan knows how to do this so well, and my God, what he does in this movie is absolutely stunning. The aerial dogfights in this film, probably some of the best in movie history. The sound mixing and the sound design is incredible. Like, the soundtrack from Hans Zimmer is very minimal, and it constantly stays in your head even after watching the movie. Such a great movie. Dunkirk will go down in history, in my opinion. I think it will go down in history as one of the best war films of all time. Now, I know I keep saying my favorite directors of all time and everything. Number 7 comes from my actual favorite director of all time. The Shape of Water is directed by Guillermo del Toro and is a very different type of love story. One that is hauntingly original. As I said, Guillermo del Toro is my favorite director of all time, and this movie looks perfect. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful set design, beautiful direction all around. Cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. The makeup and everything on the creature itself, I'll call it, beautiful. I mean, it's just so gorgeous. He's so at home with this. And then the performance of Sally Hawkins in this movie is amazing. She's mute for almost the entire film, and she has to interact with other characters through body, like sign language and everything. She's absolutely phenomenal in this movie. So good. Great performances from Richard Jenkins, Octavia Spencer, Michael Shannon. Great performances. Such a beautiful movie. I mean, the romance, probably the best part of it, in all honesty. It's a very strange movie, but if you get past that part, it tells a great message, and I really think this is one of his best movies. Go check out The Shape of Water. It is absolutely phenomenal. Number 6 was probably the most fun I had in a movie theater all year. Thor Ragnarok, directed by Taika Waititi. This movie was so fun. This is exactly what this series needed, is an injection of pure enjoyment. Because the other two Thor movies are okay, in my opinion. They're some of the weaker Marvel movies. In my opinion, this is probably in terms of fun, it's probably the best Marvel movie. Chris Hemsworth is fantastic as Thor. This is his best performance as Thor. So funny. I mean, this movie is hilarious. This is easily the funniest movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's hilarious. It's awesome. Epic. The soundtrack is amazing. The action sequences, what they do with the Hulk in this movie, hilarious, perfect, perfectly captured. Everything about it is just so fun. The villain played by Cate Blanchett, Hela, so great. This is, again, a great year for Marvel villains. We have had this problem, but now we've had two great Marvel villains, and God, this movie was so fun. I can't wait to see it again. Go check out Thor Ragnarok. I'm sure you have already, but go see it again. It's so fun. Also, Jeff Goldblum. Perfect casting. Now, Thor Ragnarok is a movie I feel like pretty much every superhero movie should try to strive to be, but number 5 is the other end of that spectrum. Logan, directed by James Mangold. This movie is probably my favorite Marvel movie and possibly my favorite superhero movie. I'll have to think about that, but I've been thinking about it, and I really think it is. It takes its character with so much care and so much time devoted to it, and Hugh Jackman is just so perfect. This is the best I think he'll ever be. He plays this character so well. I mean, we've had so many years devoted to building his character, but in this, it just comes to a head and is absolutely amazing what they do with it. Patrick Stewart is also phenomenal in the movie. I absolutely love what they do with his character. It's such a heart-wrenching movie, so emotionally impactful. The R rating, perfect. I mean, so satisfying. The action sequences in this movie, bloody, violent, so many fucks and shits. I mean, so good. It fits this character so well. We've been wanting to see this for so long, and it just works so well. I think this is a perfect send-off for this character that will go down in history. This is, once again, I think my favorite superhero movie of all time. If you haven't seen this movie, go and check it out. It's so great. Number 4 is easily the best animated movie that came out this year in a pile of mediocre to okay animated movies. This is the shining star that stuck out among the rest. Coco is one of my favorite Pixar movies now. I think it goes without saying the animation is absolutely beautiful. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. It goes without saying, but like, it really is. In this movie in particular, the colors just pop. I mean, absolutely beautiful. I could talk about it forever, but I won't for sake of this list. The characters that they bring to this movie, so great, so likable and memorable. The music is all phenomenal. The Remember Me, I really hope, wins the Oscar for Best Original Song. It's so good. The culture is very well captured in this movie. Everything from the music to the look and everything so well. This has one of the saddest sequences in any Pixar movie. I was dying in the theater, absolutely like covered in tears. I couldn't hold it in. It was so well captured. This is very close to the top of one of my favorite Pixar movies. Inside Out is still the top for me, and Up, those two. But yeah, it's very close. Coco is fucking great. Number 3 was my most anticipated movie of the year, even more than Star Wars in all honesty, and it paid off. War for the Planet of the Apes is a perfect note to close on. This is one of my favorite trilogies now of all time, honestly. And to say that in 2017, that's pretty special. This series leading up to this movie has been fantastic, but this is easily the best in the franchise. Once again, Andy Serkis is so perfect. He is so great. Caesar is such a fantastic character. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. In Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I didn't think he could get any better, but he tops it time and time again. And in this movie, it comes to a head so perfectly. The note they close on, like, it's so perfect. Everything just builds upon each other. The story, the script, the characters, the dialogue, the direction, the cinematography, everything. This is one of the best blockbusters we've gotten in such a long time. All the performances, especially Andy Serkis, all are great, and the visuals are so real. I mean, God, they're so perfectly done. And I don't like to bring visuals into it that much because I feel like that's a crutch a lot of people fall on, is like, it had great visuals. But in this, it really does sell it. It's gripping, it's interesting, it's psychologically challenging, it takes its characters to new heights and builds upon emotional stakes. It just closes everything just exactly as I wanted it to, and I feel like this is one of the best trilogies of all time. Now, number 2 was a movie that I went to out of sheer curiosity. I wanted to see what the movie was all about, and I got so much more than I anticipated. A Ghost Story is one of the most emotionally impactful movies I have ever seen in my entire life. David Lowery tells a story of love and how deeply rooted and important it can be to a single person, and how vast it can actually transcend into. And my God, like, what he does with this movie, it kept me glued to the screen for the entire runtime. I was absolutely floored by this movie. This movie really is courageous. It's so different. I mean, like, everything from the aspect ratio being much smaller than most movies, it really adds to the tone of feeling like something humans should not be watching. It feels otherworldly almost. And it really is challenging, and it really is so beautiful in every aspect. Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara in this movie are both fantastic. I mean, Casey Affleck is under a ghost sheet for almost the entire movie, but somehow he absolutely sells it. The infamous pie eating scene, which I won't go into, is, oh my God, I can't come up with words for it. I'm still thinking about it. It's burned into my subconscious. Like, it is such a moving scene, and I don't even fully grasp it almost. It just sells what it's trying to say, but at the same time, I don't know what it's saying, and that's the best part about it. This movie is trying to say something, and I've seen it 3 times now, and I've got my own answers, but I really think anyone watching this should go and check out this movie. A lot of people were very disappointed in this movie. They thought it was a horror movie. It's absolutely not. But if you go in with an open mind and thinking about, like, focusing on what could come with this idea, I think you'll really take something from it, and I will. I definitely have. This movie is going to stick with me probably for the rest of my life. I absolutely adore it. It is a masterpiece of storytelling, in my opinion. A Ghost Story is a movie I will never forget watching. But the movie that I saw this year that absolutely turned it around for me, I mean, completely surprised me. I thought I was scared going in, but I managed to see this movie 3 times in theaters, twice at home. I think it's a masterpiece in every regard. Number 1, the best film of 2017 is Blade Runner 2049. Directed by Denis Villeneuve. This guy is one of the greats now. He is one of the best filmmakers working today. One of the best upcoming directors. He has made nothing but masterpieces, in my opinion, up to this point. And this is his crowning achievement as of now. Blade Runner 2049 is one of the greatest sequels ever made. I think it's one of the best sci-fi movies I've seen in a long, long time. He directs this movie to perfection. This is one of the best looking movies I have seen in my life. Roger Deakins is a cinematographer. He also works the camera like magic. Every shot is composed perfectly and beautifully. Nothing is out of place. Everything has a place. It's done perfectly, beautifully, masterfully in this film. I feel like what is most important here is that Villeneuve has crafted a movie first and a sequel second. He crafts a film that builds upon the original film and expounds more on that. He doesn't try to focus on having the audience remember the first one. He wants to explore it more, and I feel like he does an amazing job with that. The world of Blade Runner is so rich with possibility. It's so great, and I feel like Denis Villeneuve has taken full advantage of that and given us such a great story with such great characters. I mean, Ryan Gosling has a great arc in this movie. He has a great performance. Great stuff with him. Harrison Ford gives one of his best performances in years, and he does such a great job in it. The soundtrack is euphoric and epic, like such an amazing synth soundtrack that I've been listening to since the film has come out. I absolutely love it. Everything about this movie is just so phenomenal. I've used that word throughout this whole video, I know, but it culminates with this movie. Phenomenal. Perfect, masterful, amazing, epic. All these words describe what in my opinion, is the peak of modern sci-fi cinema. Blade Runner 2049 is easily the best film of 2017 by far. And that was Top 20 Best Movies 2017. I loved this year for film. I really did. I had such a hard time making this list. Left out a lot of movies, but I really did love this year for movies. I can't wait for what we get this year. It looks like it's going to be even better this year. We're going to have a lot of great movies this year. A lot of disappointments, I bet, but you know what? That's the fun of it, is waiting for it. So you know what? I'm ready. 2018 has a lot of great movies lined up. Cannot wait for it. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I know I haven't made a lot of videos in a while, but you know what? I'm going to try and make up for it. I might do some other videos that aren't just Overwatch highlight videos. I might try and do some more stuff. I'm trying to get a good steady schedule going for myself, but you know, it's kind of hard to do. It's hard to start again when you haven't done it in a while, but yeah, I'm happy to put more stuff out for you guys than just be a dead channel that uploads a random Overwatch highlight or whatever. But yeah, I'll stop rambling on. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much again for watching, and see you later.